Hello everyone, Charles Watts here. Welcome back to Inside Arsenal. It is Friday. It's the start of the weekend. I hope you're having a good day wherever you're watching or listening to this around the world. Couple of days to go now till Arsenal return to Premier League action. That big trip to Fulham, revenge possibly on the mind after what happened at Craven Cottage last time out. So we're going to spend some time talking about that game in today's show. We'll look at some of the changes potentially Mikel should make. Love to get your views on that as well. Come down into the comments below. Let me know your thoughts on who should potentially be starting this game. Do you stick pretty much with what you've gone with at the weekend? In midweek, apart from maybe Calafiori and Gabriel coming back if they are fit, or do you make some changes specifically in attack? Leandro Trossard, for example, Gabriel Jesus. I don't know. Let me know your thoughts on it. We are going to talk about that in this show. Got some other stuff to talk about. Albert Stuivenberg close to a new contract as well. Good news for Mikel Arteta, obviously very much his right-hand man at Arsenal. Got some reaction from you guys to all the set piece fury that has been going on and all the debate about Arsenal and the new Stoke City rubbish that you've been hearing about for the last 24 hours. Some reaction from you guys. Someone's asked about future of Gabriel Jesus, so we'll look at that as well. So plenty to get stuck into. Mikel's obviously speaking at his pre-match press conference a little bit later on today. By the time you're watching this or listening to this, he may well have already spoken. So we'll wait to see what he has to say about the latest team news and injury news and Gabriel and Calafiori and things like that. But yeah, before that press conference, I thought we'd have a little bit of a sit down and look ahead to that game against Fulham, because there's some big decisions for Mikel to make. As always, we've seen and we spoke about it yesterday, myself and James, in Inside Arsenal Extra Time. That went out last night. If you haven't watched or listened to it yet, you can find it down below, where we sort of looked at the change maybe in Mikel, certainly since the international break, in how he's using his squad and the minutes that he's giving to players and how many players are getting some game time. And certainly there's been a bit of a running theme, hasn't it, in the recent weeks? You've had Leandro Trossard starting, then the next game Martinelli starts, then Trossard starts, then Martinelli starts. So does that mean Trossard starts this weekend? I've got a feeling he will. I was pretty confident that Martinelli would start against Manchester United in midweek. He did. I've got a feeling we might see Trossard come back in for this game. I thought Trossard was very, very bright when he came on against Manchester United. Martinelli, I didn't think Martinelli played too badly, but certainly a lot of you guys, judging by what you had to say in the comments, didn't think he had a very good game against Manchester United. Will he be brought out again and then brought back in for the game against Monaco in midweek? So many games at the moment. You look at the fixture list, it is just basically game every 3 days from now through to February. Basically, there's so much football to be played, and I think we're certainly seeing signs that Mikel is very well aware of that, and that is why he is now rotating his squad far more than potentially he has before. We've all sat here, haven't we, and questioned whether he trusts his players and whether he's giving too many players too many minutes. But there's definitely been a shift in how he's using his squad. I think we'll probably see some more of that. Trossard, I really do think he'll come in for this game. I'm intrigued to see what he does up front. Something just in the back of my mind makes me think that he might well spring a surprise and Gabriel Jesus could start this game. That's not based on any information. I've just got a sneaky feeling he might do something a little bit different at the weekend, especially with that game against Monaco in mind, or he might save Jesus for Monaco. We'll have to wait and see. But let me know your thoughts on that. Who would you be changing for this game? Let me know in the comments below. We'll wait and see in terms of what happens with the injuries. Obviously, Gabriel and Calafiori weren't involved against Manchester United, but as you saw, and you can see if you're watching on YouTube now, the picture, they were there watching on the bench. They came onto the pitch afterwards. They were celebrating with Jakub Kiwior, congratulating him on his performance, which was a very, very good performance. They were both very, very close, from my understanding, to be fit to play against Manchester United. And Arsenal, Mikel Arteta just thought at the last moment, you know what, I'm not going to risk it. We've got so many minutes for these players to play, so many games coming up. There's no point taking a risk on any of them. I would suggest they'll be okay for this game. Obviously, again, I'm recording this a couple of hours or 3 hours before Mikel Arteta is due to speak at his press conference in London, Colney. He might come out with an update and say both of them are out. But certainly from what I was hearing in midweek ahead of the Man United game, and since that, I think there's probably a very good chance that at least one of them could be fit for this game. And if that's the case, I imagine they will start. But, Kiwior showed, Zinchenko showed even before he got substituted, before he tired in that second half, that both of them are more than capable of filling in if needs be. And that's a good thing for Arsenal, because you're going to need your squad, as we were talking about in yesterday's show with James Bench. I mean, looking elsewhere, I don't think there'll be too many more changes. I think, James was saying on extra time, we need to give Timber a rest at some point. I do agree. I think it's very, very careful. You've got to be very careful with Timber. There is no other option at right back, really, apart from Thomas Partey, which, he can play there. We've seen him. He played there well when he dropped back into right back in the second half against United in midweek. But you don't want to see Thomas Partey playing right back too often. But you do have to take Timber's fitness into account and the fact that Ben White is out for a significant amount of time. So is Takehiro Tomiyasu. So there's no other option. You've got to protect Jurriën Timber. He's arguably the most important player in this team right now, I think, despite Arsenal's attacking talents and other areas, how strong you are at centre-back. I think if they're able to lose Timber, that would be a significant problem for Mikel Arteta and the balance that we're now seeing in this Arsenal team. So his minutes do need to be managed. And I do wonder at some point we're going to see him given a bit of a rest and Thomas Partey playing at right back for a game. I doubt that will be at Fulham. I look at Fulham's strength down the left-hand side and they are a threat. Antonio Robinson is a very, very good left back who gets forward. He gets goals. He got an assist. So he gets assists. He got another one last night in their very good win against Brighton at Craven Cottage, which, a fantastic result for them. I just think Timber's probably going to start this game. Maybe Monaco. I don't know that if you change things up and look to give him a bit of a night off, we'll see. But elsewhere, I think just Trossard, maybe Gabriel Jesus, potentially could play Jorginho. Again, we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, interesting to see. Get your thoughts on it. Who should start this game against Fulham? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I'll pull some of them together and get them included over the next week, a couple of days or so as we build up to that game. As I said, Fulham had a really good result last night, and it's the game on Sunday is going to be an interesting one from an Arsenal point of view in terms of so many familiar faces. Emile Smith-Rowe, the first time he's come up against Arsenal since he made the move to Fulham. Of course, Bernd Leno's there, Alex Iwobi. Reece Nelson is there, but there's no Reece Nelson for this game. He's obviously on loan, so he won't be playing against his parent club. Other team news, obviously no Tom Kearney, the Fulham captain. He got himself sent off against Spurs last weekend, so he's suspended for the game. Arsenal, we know there's no Tomiyasu. We know there's no Ben White. As we've been saying, there's doubts over Calafiori and Gabriel, but the thinking is that they are very, very close to a return. So that's the latest team news ahead of the game. Fulham, really good win for them last night against Brighton. Brighton had some chances, it has to be said. I thought I didn't watch the whole game, but from watching bits and pieces of it after Fulham's early goal from Iwobi, Alex Iwobi's playing very, very well at the moment, isn't it? Great to see. Hopefully that doesn't continue at the weekend, but took his second goal really well, Iwobi. But after the first goal, Brighton came back and had plenty of chances to equalise. And when they did equalise, good goal as well by Belieber, you thought they'd go on and win that game because they had the momentum with them. But it just kind of killed their momentum, really strangely, getting the equaliser. And Fulham, to their credit, fought back and got themselves a win with 2 goals. Again, Iwobi scoring a lovely goal. I can't remember who it was who scored the second goal for them. But that was a big win for them. Fulham, I think they're up to 6th in the league now. Fulham, let me just double check that while I'm speaking to you, but I'm pretty sure, yeah, they are. They're up to 6th, Fulham. So if they beat Arsenal at the weekend, they'd only be 3 points behind Arsenal, having a fantastic season, Fulham, which does make me laugh considering James Bench. I know he's not here to defend himself right now, but that early season when we bet 50 quid that Palace are going to finish top 4 and that Fulham were going to get relegated, I'm not sure there's been a worse take in football for a long time than that from James, and he was there to watch Fulham win last night. But they're a really good team. It's going to be a difficult game. Now Arsenal have got bad memories from last season against Craven Cottage. We've spoken about that in the last couple of days. Definitely the worst performance of the season last season. Need to bounce back for that. Need to respond to that. And I hope they will. I think they will. They're obviously going there in a very good run of form. Last season, it was very different. They went there on the back of the West Ham game. They slipped up. They had a poor December. It's a completely different situation this time around. They go in there confident, on a winning feeling. Hopefully we're going to see a much, much better performance, because if they don't produce a better performance, then they're not going to get anything from this game against a very, very good Fulham team. Elsewhere, Albert Stuivenberg close to a new contract. Fabrizio Romano reported that yesterday, and no real surprise on that one. Really trusted member of Mikel Arteta's staff. The two of them get on very, very well. I mean, Stuivenberg has been linked with potential moves away. He's doing a very good job at Arsenal. He's highly respected in the game. There's been lots of clubs who are believed to have been sort of looking at Stuivenberg as a potential management role. Him and Arteta are very close. They work well together, and Arteta will be delighted if he does commit his future to the club for another couple of years. There's been a lot of sort of chopping and changing on Mikel's staff in the last couple of years. Obviously, Steve Round moving on. A couple others have departed as well. But say he'll be very, very happy to just sort of have that continuity of Stuivenberg continuing alongside him. You know, he's really, really popular at Arsenal. The players love him. And yeah, new contract for him would go down very, very well. Sort of elsewhere, news and bits and pieces. Bukayo Saka has been named Arsenal Player of the Month. I think that's the third time this season that he's been named Player of the Month. Absolutely sort of landswept the votes. I think about sort of 64%, something like that, on the news, which is no surprise. You look at his performances, the goals and assists he's got throughout November. No real surprise. Martin Odegaard was in the running as well. Kai Havertz. But yeah, Bukayo Saka named Player of the Month. Kai Havertz has been speaking to Sky Sports, has been talking about how much he's loving life at Arsenal. He's now got as many Premier League goal involvements for Arsenal, 26, than he got his entire career at Chelsea. And that's 42 fewer games. So it's like a whole season less for Arsenal, and he's got the same amount of goal involvements, which just shows, you know, the remarkable sort of turnaround in form since he's made the move to Arsenal and how important he is. He's been speaking about it. He said he's enjoy every second. He says, for me, it's the best thing I could ever have done. I'm so glad for the support from everyone that helped me during my time. I just got started. I hope to continue in good form, play well, and win titles. He was talking about how the title race is going now and the fact that Liverpool have started very, very well. He said, look, it's still the first part of the season and a lot can happen. For me personally, I think how much tougher the Premier League gets year by year. Liverpool all of a sudden performing at the highest level week in, week out. Have to give credit to them for sure. But there are lots of games to play and points to get, and we will be ready for the fight for sure. There's no one at Arsenal, definitely no one, and nor should they be, but there is no one at Arsenal waving a white flag. You know, the Premier League title is still very much the target this season. 7 points, sorry. You know, it's far from a foregone conclusion. Yes, Liverpool are the favourites. Yes, they've put themselves in a fantastic position, but all it takes is a couple of games to go against you. And we've seen it with Manchester City. If City can go on a losing streak like that, Liverpool can definitely go on a losing streak. You know, if something were to happen to Mo Salah, then you do look at, despite how strong Liverpool are, you do wonder, you know, how much their capability of winning games and turning games around that they're losing. If Salah's not in that team, we see how much of an impact he had. So, you know, Havertz is absolutely right to be speaking like that. And we'll wait and see what happens over the next few weeks or so. Like I said, I've said it from the start. Well, I've said it from about 4 weeks ago, whenever it was, that if Arsenal won every single game between the last international break and New Year's Day, I thought they'd be 4 or 5 points behind Liverpool going into 2025. I'm still very much of that opinion. Not easy. Still got to go and win these games. We know Sunday's going to be really, really difficult, but they can do that, and they can do that. And I think the gap will be down to 4 or 5 points. Moving on to some of what you guys have been saying now. This is some of the reaction to yesterday's set-piece farcical reaction that people have been saying, rival fans have been saying, even people in the media have been saying about Arsenal and set pieces. Dara says, I think one of the things rival fans are missing is that it's not just that we have a great set piece coach and we work on it in training, but I suspect the lads are working really harder on it as well. The training the team does week in, week out has to cover lots of phases of play, and given how much better we are at set pieces, leads me to believe that the squad spends more hours on the training ground per week compared to other teams working these things out. Similar to stories about Beckham staying late practicing free kicks. Absolutely, so much work goes into this. You always hear stuff from other players say, oh, you know, set piece training is just like half an hour at the end of the day, just kind of going through the motions a little bit. We know that's not the case at Arsenal. We know how much work goes into it, and you deserve credit for that. You don't deserve scorn for that. You deserve credit for that because it's a key part of the game, and it's a part that is clearly working for Arsenal and helping them get points in a really tight and difficult league to win in. Just makes me laugh. Still makes me laugh that Arsenal seem to be getting criticism for it. One below here from 4JJA14 says it's funny, for years and years people called Arsenal soft touches, always got bullied, couldn't mix it with physical teams, never had a plan B, and completely unorganised, especially in defence. All true of sorts. Now people are screaming that due to well-worked corner routines, we are now cheated and commit a foul for small pushes and nudges. Lol. And Toby Mesh says, time was Arsenal were mocked for being bullied and pushed around on set plays. Now they're competitive. Everyone wants to dictate they must look like for it to be acceptable. The saltiness is laughable. It is. I agree. Absolutely. I had my say in it yesterday. I really, really hope that Arsenal score at least one goal from a set piece on Sunday, because I just want to enjoy the tears that will come from that if Arsenal score again from a set piece on Sunday. I'd love it every single game between now and the end of the season to score from a corner just to see the reaction. It would be very, very, very funny. So thank you everyone for getting in touch on that. Here's one from Alrikmani. Sorry, I probably got that wrong. Saying the Brazilian press is already speculating that Gabriel Jesus could be going in the transfer window this winter. How true is this? Yeah, I did see these reports as well. There's been lots of talk about Jesus possibly going back to Brazil. Palmeiras have been linked, haven't they? And there have been reports that Arsenal will be open to letting him go in January. My thoughts on this is that I'd be very, very surprised. I think Jesus. I wouldn't be shocked if Jesus leaves Arsenal in the next 6 months, but I don't think that will be in January. I think that would potentially be in the summer. If Arsenal are going to let him go in January, then they would have to bring someone in. You cannot be letting Gabriel Jesus go in January if you're not replacing him. And I don't think Arsenal have got really any plans to bring in another attacker in January. I think they've certainly got plans to bring in another attacker in the next couple of windows. But again, that would be further down the line in the summer when they can really try and get whoever it is that they want to get. It's very hard to get a proper, a real sort of significant number 9 target in January when you're looking around Europe and the targets you could potentially get. I don't see it happening in January. I can't sit and rule it out absolutely entirely, but I'd be very, very surprised. I think if they are going to do that, then it will be in the summer. So I just can't see Gabriel Jesus going, even if offers do arrive from in January. You just couldn't weaken your squad that much. And I know he's not scoring many goals at the moment, or barely any goals at the moment. I think he scored one, hasn't he, against Preston, and that was it. But he's still a valuable squad member who you can use, you can share minutes around with, and hopefully with the ambition of him clicking into gear and still being able to add, 5 or 6 goals between January and the end of the season, which could prove to be vital goals. You just can't be letting him go. A senior, experienced player like that, it would be madness unless you're bringing in a replacement. And as I said, I don't think they'll be bringing in a replacement in January. So, I'll be surprised is my answer to that. I just don't think it's going to be happening. Summer, yes. January, very, very doubtful. Right, and that's it from me today, everyone. Thank you very much for your time. As always, do enjoy the rest of your Friday. Enjoy the start of your weekend, wherever you're watching and listening to this around the world. And I'll be back tomorrow to do it all over again. We'll look at what Mikel Arteta's had to say in his press conference. We'll look further ahead to the game against Fulham as well. And don't forget, give me your thoughts on who should be playing in that game against Fulham, what changes, if any, Mikel Arteta should make. Let me know in the comments below, and I'll pull some of them together and get them included in the show. Until then, have a great day, everyone. Speak to you soon. Bye-bye.